Aloha, and welcome to our first episode of Cooking with Aloha Charlie. Today we are going to do something very simple, what appears to be simple. We're going to dissect or cut a pineapple. There are many ways to do it, and when I was, before I moved to Hawaii, I used to just peel the skin off and then try to dice it up, and it would wind up with a big mess. But I've learned over the years how the perfect way to cut a pineapple is, and I'm going to show you today. Now, my favorite pineapples, the only pineapples that I eat now are the organic pineapples. This one is actually transitional, but not actually certified organic, but it's not sprayed, no chemicals, and the next crop will probably be organic. Kapalua Farms grows these, and they do a really good job in Kapalua, just above Lahaina. So this is a smaller pineapple than the ones you get at Costco or the supermarket. It's organic, natural, and very sweet, lower acid, delicious pineapple. I usually buy a case every week at the Lapoa Street Farmers Market and wind up giving, last week I gave them all away. So this week I'm going to have one to myself and show you how to cut it up. So that's the first step, is buying the right pineapple. And this one's definitely ready. You can tell by the color it's ready to eat. So it's ready to be cut up. And it smells wonderful. I wish you could smell it. Oh, it's just so sweet and pungent, the odor. It's really delicious. So we're going to cut that up and try some. Now, the thing about pineapples, they contain bromelain. And bromelain refers to a group of sulfur-containing enzymes that digest protein obtained from the pineapple plant. Bromelain has been shown to exert several effects of benefit in clearing the airways, suppressing coughs, and reducing the viscosity of respiratory tract infections, respiratory tract secretions. Okay? And let's see. Bromelain is also helpful in acute sinusitis, which I've had pretty much my whole life. So if I was eating pineapples when I was 2, I probably wouldn't have problems with that. So, but I know what pineapples were. Now, there are tools that you can use. There's the pineapple slicer, which you can buy in the supermarket for about $10. And this one, you just cut the top off the pineapple, put it down, and then you turn it and spin it around. It actually takes the core out of the pineapple, which I usually wind up cutting out anyway because it's really too rough to digest. And it makes these little spiral cuts. Now, that's nice and good and everything, but I believe it gets a lot of waste. There's a lot of waste involved with this, so you can actually get more, especially with these smaller pineapples. You want to get as much as you can out of it. So we are going to cut it the old-fashioned way. And there's just 2 different things you could do actually. You can actually, well, first you want to remove the label before you cut it, Kapalua Natural. And secondly, if I were just to buy a pineapple and eat it at home for myself, then I would just twist the top off like that. Just squeeze it, a couple good turns, and boom, the top comes off. You could actually plant the top in water. If you put it in a vase of water, I have one over here. It's been grown for about 2 years, just in water, and it's thriving. Now, if you were to take that and put it in the ground, you would have a pineapple in about 18 months. So another pineapple like this. Maybe not quite as delicious, but depends on your soil and a lot of different factors. Okay, so this one we're actually going to cut to be like, Wailea style. We're going to do it really nice, so like they do at the resorts. So we're going to leave the top on, just like we're having a little get-together or party. So I usually like to take a serrated knife, be very careful now. And what you do is you just cut the top off, but leave about maybe 2 inches. Okay? So it's probably better to get a paper towel. Okay, and then just put it underneath there, and you just catch all the top there. Okay. See what I'm doing? Just make a nice clean cut. Now, being that this is organic or natural pineapple, I often find that there's bugs because they don't spray pesticides on them, which I'm perfectly fine with. So you just want to make sure that you whitewash it out. I did wash this pineapple, and that's an important thing too. I usually rinse it off and then pat dry with a paper towel. I don't think they have the listeria scare like they do with the cantaloupe, just recently we've had in the news. But you can never be too safe, so I always wash off the fruit before I cut it, and then you know you're safe, right? So this, now you're left with this part here. And I actually, sometimes if I'm having a function to go to or a party, I put a couple of baggy ties around there. You can tie two together and then just make nice centerpieces for the table. And if you cut it straight at the bottom, it'll actually stand up and look like that. So it'll be a nice decoration. And you have, 5 or 6 pineapples, you can decorate the tray with that. But today, we're not going to go to a party. I'm just going to show you how to cut a pineapple. Okay? So, again, using the serrated knife, which I think probably works best for this, I cut straight down through the top, the crown, okay? And all the way into the pineapple. There we go. Now, voila, you have 2 halves of the pineapple. Look how sweet, golden, delicious that is. It's a really delicious pineapple. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to forego the serrated knife, and we are going to take a very sharp regular knife, and we want to cut these in quarters. So, what we do is just get a hold of it, be very careful, and cut down, and you have quarters. Okay. Okay, we have the quarters. Now what I like to do, just because sometimes it's hard to scoop out that big chunk there, I cut it again in half. So it would actually be cutting it in eighths. But make sure when you cut the top, just to leave the top on there if you're going to a party. If you're not, don't worry about it. The top is already twisted off, and you don't have to worry about it. So you're left with these boats like this. Okay? So and it's great because you can serve it just like this, at the party. Okay, it's very fancy and people are impressed, and it doesn't really take that much longer than doing that, spiral gyro thing. And I don't think it's good anyway. I think you wind up with a big mess of pineapple juice when you're done with that thing. And actually never used it. I always buy those novelty things and never really use them. So it's kind of ridiculous. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to cut the pineapple. So now we have 8 of these boats, and I didn't do it perfectly because this is my first show, so please forgive me. But we are going to cut them into serving sizes. So what we do is take the knife, okay? You can start. I usually start by the stem. You just cut down. Be very careful. This knife isn't as sharp as I like it to be. Okay, and then you turn the knife, as you can see, and then start cutting along the skin. So you cut as close to the skin as possible without digging into the skin on the bottom. And then the other side, you do the same thing. Okay? Alright, great. And then you have this big chunk of pineapple. And see, you cut very close to the skin. I don't think that spiral gyro thing could do that. Okay, now what I like to do is, I don't like the stem because it's just too rough. So I like to cut the stem out. So you take the knife like this, you turn it sideways, and just cut out that core in the middle. It's like a piece of sugar cane. I mean, some people like to eat it, but not really for me. And then what you do is you just cut this into smaller pieces. There you go. And there you have a party serving tray. Perfect. And you could, when I have the realtors caravans or I have parties to go to, I cut 5 or 6 pineapples like this, and I display them like this. I alternate in the tray. I have a nice big serving tray, and it's beautiful. You have all the pineapples together. So there you go. So we'll just finish cutting these up. And be very careful not to cut your finger, because that'll be the end of my show if I cut my finger. Alright, and sometimes you get the eyes left in there, so what I do is I just cut that out like that, okay? And cut the stem out, the core, I mean. There you go. Not, I usually put them aside. There's some people that like to eat them, so you can save them. And then, let's continue. That one doesn't look very good. I think I cut that one too small to begin with. And this knife is not really great. But you get the idea, right? And you cut out the middle part, the core. Okay. And you cut that eye out. You don't want to eat that stuff because it's pretty sharp. Okay, and just cut it in smaller pieces. Now that one doesn't look too good. So, but you get the idea. I mean, it should look perfect. And normally I do a perfect job at it, except when I'm trying to demonstrate in front of a camera. Okay. So that one's the same thing. Just cut out the middle part and slice it up. Now you might be going to a party where everybody loves the middle part and you can leave it in. So now let's get our serving dish. This is just for demonstration purposes. And we are going to serve it up. Okay, now this is perfect. This is how it should look. So that's good. Usually if I'm going to a party, I usually eat the ones that look like mincemeat, like these two. And you know, I save those for myself because I don't really care about the appearance. They taste just as good. Okay? So there we have it. So, you know, you alternate like that. And, you know, of course I use a big serving tray. I cut 5 or 6 pineapples at a time. And there you have it. So that's how you display it. And of course if you were doing it at home, you wouldn't need to do all that fancy stuff. And then, you know, then you can put this on the side. If you have like a table or display, you can put a couple of these. And there you have it. So this should be really sweet. Mmm. Delicious. Very good pineapple. I get them at the farmer's market. I buy a case for $20. Usually comes about 9 or 10. So you're looking at about $2 a pineapple. I've even shipped them out to the mainland, New Jersey and California. It costs $15 to ship 3 or 4 of them, so a flat rate. Wonderful. I wish you could try it. So there you have it. That's basically how to cut a pineapple. If you have questions, you can email me at charlie@charliekeller.com, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. We'll probably do some cooked meals coming up, but this is our first episode, so hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day, and aloha.